Okay, so for this assignment, you're going to be looking at specific atmospheric properties such as air temperature, pressure, and density. And more specifically, you're going to be looking at how does air temperature, pressure, and density change as you travel higher into Earth's atmosphere. Um, because in order to truly understand weather, we've got to understand the composition and structure of Earth's atmosphere. So this assignment is split up into 3 parts. This video is strictly about part 1, which is where you're going to collect all of your data. So right now I am in the part A assignment, which is kind of the overall description and directions page. And then part B of the assignment you will use for part 1. So I'm going to be going back and forth between this document, part B, and also the simulation that you will use in part 1. So if you haven't already, please open assignment B in addition to assignment A. To do part 1, like I said, you're going to need to access the simulation, and to access that you can click right here using this link, and that should automatically open you up to this simulation. And then if you do not watch this video, there are other directions here, but I'm going to walk you through it in the video. So I also am going to have this open as well, which is the part B assignment, which is where you're going to collect all your data for part 1. So just very briefly to talk about this data table, the first column is all the different altitudes in kilometers. So you're going to start at 0 and work your way all the way up to 400 kilometers in Earth's atmosphere. And then the next columns are all of the data that you're going to collect. So you're going to collect density for each altitude measurement, pressure, which is, you'll see it says PA there, that's pascals, that's what the unit we use to measure air pressure, and then temperature in Celsius. The last column is temperature in Fahrenheit, and that will not be included in the simulation. However, I have already done the work for you. I've created a column that will automatically convert your temperature in Celsius into Fahrenheit. Okay, so that way it's just more meaningful to you as we use Fahrenheit here in the United States. Right now, you'll notice that all of the columns say 32, and some of you may already know why that is. But right now, we don't have any temperatures for Celsius documented in our table. So it assumes that it's 0 degrees Celsius, and 32 degrees Fahrenheit is equivalent to 0 degrees Celsius. As we add in our data into this column, you will notice that the temperatures in your Fahrenheit column will automatically change. That is what it should do. You shouldn't have to, and you shouldn't actually at all, touch this last column. Okay, so to start, I'm going to go to my simulation. There's a lot of information over here that you do not have to read, so don't worry about that. This is kind of our sim. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the different altitudes that we're going to be exploring. Right now, the little red arrow is set at 0. On the right side is actually the different parts of Earth's atmosphere, which we're going to explore later, but so you don't need to worry about those right now. If you scroll down a little bit, this is where all your data will be showing up. So right now it's set at 0 because the red marker is at 0. And we can actually go ahead and just use this data and plug it into our table. So density, we're not actually using the typical units. What this is calculating is the percentage of sea level density. So right now, because we're at 0, we're at sea level. That means the sea level density is 100%. But that will change as we progress through Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so I'm going to use this data to plug it into my data chart. So density is 100. So I'm just going to click in here and type 100. Do not use any units because when you go to make your graphs, that will mess it up. So do not write any units next to your values. Pressure is 101,300 pascals. Again, I'm just typing that in. And then the last one we need is temperature in Celsius. which is 15 degrees. And here you will see, so when I type in my 15, notice this temperature automatically changed to 59. It adjusts to whatever your temperature is in Celsius. So 59 degrees Fahrenheit is the same thing as 15 degrees Celsius. And again, you should not be touching this at all because I have already set it, and if you mess it up, it will give you the wrong values, and then you'll be doing the entire assignment incorrectly. Okay, now we're going to move our red kind of ticker up to 5 kilometers. So in here, I'm going to shift this red marker up, and right in between 0 and 10 would be 5, and just to double check, it should say it down here, which is 5 kilometers, so we're good. And then you're going to hit launch. You'll notice this little balloon is going to fly up, and then our values will be inserted once the balloon gets to 5. So here's our density again, so 60.7. Again, I am not using units, so it doesn't mess up my graphs later on. My pressure is 54,048 pascals. And then my degrees in Celsius is -18. And again, you'll automatically see that temperature in Fahrenheit change, which now is -0.4 degrees Fahrenheit. You will continue this process by moving the red marker up to each altitude that you need to go to, and then clicking launch and collecting your data until this entire table is filled in. Once you're finished with that, you can move on to part 2.